In our perfect page, we have our tools set up and our palette set up, and we're getting more use of tools. Remember that these palettes can be in place if you're not using, for example, if I'm not going to be using the text for a while, I can click over here on this top bar, click, and it reduces it in size, telling me I've got character and paragraph and stroke there, but I can, park this off on the side if I need to, if I need to have more space. It depends on, again, the size of your screen that you're using. If you click on it again, it's called a window shade action. It enlarges or reduces it. I don't need to have the space going on just yet, so I'll leave them there. Now, I want to talk about this tool in the tool section, this area right in here. There's a big square here. It happens to be black in color, and that's called the fill. And that is what a shape is, whether it's a square, a rectangle, a circle, a star, that's the fill. This shape behind it, now if I click on that shape behind it, it comes forward. That makes it active. It's white, and it is the stroke. It's the area that goes around a shape. Now you can change the color. It has to be forward and active, but I'll go over here into this color, what we call the rainbow bar. It's a quick fix on color, and I'll just pick a red color. And you can see I have a red stroke and a black fill. If I take my shape tool, and I'll go up here and get this rectangular tool, I'm just going to draw a rectangle here. I've got a shape. And what happens here is I have a black, I'm going back to my black arrow so I can select it. I have a black, I'll deselect it so you can see it. I have a black shape, and I have a stroke or the edge around it that by default is 1 point edge around it. Now I'm going to go to the stroke here, and I'm going to see it's one. I can go up and down here. I can go 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, or I can go to a pre-selected, maybe go to like 10 points. Now, if I select my unit here and I say, all right, let's go to 10 points. I can go one at a time or go up. You can see that the stroke has gotten larger. It is now thicker. It is 10 points. In actuality, it's 5 points above the line and 5 points under the line. So it expands within this shape, halfway out, halfway in. But when I deselect that, you can see, for purposes so you can see it, it's larger. It's an edge, or the stroke is the edge going around the fill. Now, if I select the fill and take a light blue color, well, first of all, I have to select it, and now make it coming by selecting this. It comes forward. I can select that light blue, and I have a light blue fill, and the stroke is red. If I make the stroke, I bring it forward. This little button down here looks like you're going to go scuba diving. Not really. That means no color. When I click the stroke and make it no color, you can see that now when I come forward here with my blue and deselect it, there is no shape around it. And that's generally how you're going to have your shapes and things that you're working with in Illustrator. You're going to draw them as a stroke, and then you convert them to a fill. But I want you to get that concept that the stroke is the outside edge, and the fill is all the shape that's on the inside. Now, I'm again going to make a very quick little drawing here of a unusually shaped item there. Okay. Now, instead of having a circle, and maybe in the interim I can make a circle as well to show what I'm doing here. Remember, Shift and Option key gives me a circle going from the center out. Okay, there's a circle, it's a rectangle, and there's an odd-shaped object. See how the bounding box goes to the north, the south, the east, and the west. It covers all of that in the regular shape because it has square corners. And then here it's just showing the circle inside a square. If this was an oval, it would be a rectangle, but that's the bounding box. Now, if I select this one and change the color to a green, you see the fill is there, and I need to change the fill, not the stroke. This little round curved arrow here, if I click on that, whatever was in the fill, nothing or a color, goes to the stroke, and vice versa. So if I do that, you see now I have a green stroke and no fill. There's the stroke. Now that's not white in here. That's nothing. That's what that means. Get that in your memory pattern, that nothing is nothing. It looks white because you have a white paper back here, but you're actually seeing through that. Now if I select it so it's active and I change it back again, then I have a green. I'll click on it, bring it forward, and so it's active. I have a green circle. With the blue square, again, I can come over here to the rainbow bar and just sort of pick light at the top and darker at the bottom of the blues and make my color thing happen there. We'll be more sophisticated in color selection as we get into that, but that's changing that. Now here's my shape. It's blue. If I again say to it, let's make the stroke blue and the fill nothing, bring the stroke forward so it's active. Deselect it so I don't have the bounding box to look at, and now you have nothing on the inside and the stroke is the outside blue edge. So that's the important thing I want you to remember with what we're doing right now, is that the fill is the shape you're working with. Now you won't necessarily keep the stroke. In some cases you'll see we'll draw with the stroke to make the shape happen, and then we change the stroke to the fill and give it the right color, and the stroke isn't visible, it won't be there. And in illustrations, as you put shapes together, you want that stroke to be gone so that it doesn't interfere with the building and the cutting and the assemblage of your shapes.